What's up? Hello, everybody. We made it back in one piece, and Steve is still healthy this trip. So I'm gonna call that a
Still time
win.
for it to incubate.
I'm gonna call that a win. Now we've both been like power cycling some vitamin C. I will say that. Like like I drank
Yeah.
orange juice on the way over on the plane. I've been taking my vitamin C gummies. Like I've been stacking some vitamin C.
Oh, is that the kind of gummies we were supposed to take?
Well, I mean, those you were buying from the street peddlers, I can't help you with those. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was a fun trip, guys. If you weren't there, I hate you missed it. Maybe next time. So, but yeah. Oh, and Steve, you'll be happy to know my new phone case came in.
Oh,
Since I broke mine while we were over there. And the good news is with this one, I can use my little microphone without having to take the case off of it. So
that's nice. Yeah, I've had issues with that with some cases with those iPhones.
yep. So anyway, what is up, everybody? I've been dropping a couple of videos thanks to my hyperactivity disorder that I have. I've been able to push through being tired. I did get a little bit of sleep. I was still on Las Vegas time this morning, so I didn't get out of bed until like 9 a.m. But technically in Vegas, it was 7 a.m. So I told my wife from now on, we're just going to say that I'm on Vegas time. It makes it sound
Yeah,
better.
I never got onto Vegas time, and so we were staying up late, but I was still waking up early. Um, and yeah, I didn't get as much sleep there as I would have liked. So I've been taking some naps here the past couple days because just I hitting midday and going, well, I'm struggling to keep my eyes open. But yeah,
Cool. Yeah. Well, luckily, I don't have to be up at any particular time now that I'm not at CES. And we were staying up late doing the nighttime events, and then coming out during the day. So it was a bit of a hassle, so to speak. I just realized why it's only 67 in here. Huh. It's because that's what I got the thermostat set on. So let me fix that right quick. I turned it down while we were gone so as to not run a crazy power bill up. And I was like, why is it so cool in here? I just realized.
I mean it's only 68 down here in my basement, so I don't know what you're complaining about.
Okay, it's actually set to 71. It got real cold here all of a sudden. Like it was warm yesterday, and then it rained, and then now it's done got cold. Not cold, but cool. So, but yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it's measuring the temperature where I am. That's what's happening here. So, yeah. So, what everybody's gonna ask? Let me see. Let me get in here and see what the questions are. Tampa, McPhail, CE. Okay. So if you've asked a question, or if you ask a question during the live and we miss it, guys, if you're not used to being in here, it's okay to repeat yourself. And if it's a question directed at us, we don't mind if you throw the question marks in front of it so that we can kind of pick up on it. That's perfectly fine, because you'll have a lot of folks, talking amongst themselves in the chat. And sometimes we lose things with all the chat going on. But we don't mind if you throw a question mark in front of it, just like Brian did right there. See, Brian's teaching folks how to do it. Steve, he's just taunting you with this. Yeah.
Luckily, my kids are too old for that.
Yeah. Male creative hideaway says it's 33 there. I don't know what the temperature is here. Hang on.
Now, it's 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, expect a low.
You're chilly.
28 degrees tonight. So, yeah, it's going to be a little cool here tonight. Brandy had to break out the plant covers.
It's 25 here.
I mean, that's a little cooler. Yeah. I mean, that's not bad considering you up there in South Canada.
Well, considering it's just going to warm up from here. It looks like.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a good time in CES. I seen where Klein was asking if it was a good time in CES. But yeah, it's been wild. Brian, you can't even get sweet tea in Las Vegas, let alone chicken livers. Everywhere we went, I asked if they had sweet tea, and they're like, "We got tea, we got sugar." I'm like, "That ain't the same." No, I was struggling with my baggage. I had
You had a lot of baggage.
Yeah, I had 2 backpacks full of camera gear, and then I had my other luggage, and it was just there just wasn't enough space. I like my Steve on a backpack, and if it was somewhere that I was driving to, so I could just throw it in the truck or whatever, I would definitely have taken it. But it didn't pack well with the other stuff, and the other bags that I had were needed in order to like secure the cameras and stuff so they didn't get broke. I thought I had lost my little baby microphones until earlier. I had put them in the wrong pocket, and they're so small. But yeah, so it was a mess. It was definitely crazy coming back, especially because we got a few little giveaways and stuff at some of the booths, and I had to get really creative and like stuff my shoes with little small items and stuff like that. Like I was doing everything I could to conserve space. I did, however, manage to get my luggage back home without getting another one of them team lift things put on my on my bag, because on the way up there they actually put a little like danger team lift thing on my luggage. so yeah, it was a mess. No, Brian, Abby had a small bag because I sent her a link. I was like, hey, order this bag. So, for the trip. And she looked at it and she's like, it's too big. So she ordered a smaller one. She didn't know that the reason I wanted her to order a bigger bag was so that I could put some stuff in hers.
Perimeter alert.
Yeah. I similar problem. Probably overpacked for the trip out there, but I wasn't grabbing every single thing that people had out there either. Brought some cool things back, but yeah, my suitcase was a little stuffed on the way back, and I put the latches into the lock, but I forgot to actually lock it for the flight.
Well, mine got popped open. Either they, which I guess they searched it because I had a nice little postcard in there saying that I was a random search for security purposes. But then when I got my bag, the zipper was popped open. I don't know if it happened it probably happened as it fell off of the little carousel because it was so heavy. But on the way back, something happened to one of my zipper has the little zipper that locks into the lock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't lock it this go around because I was like, well, just in case. I mean, I'm just gonna leave it unlocked. Well, one of my little things that you pull the zipper with is now missing. Oh. So yeah. So I had to just take a key ring and put a key ring in there to work it. So the little lock is no longer functioning on my bag. I may have to upgrade and buy me some nicer luggage if I start traveling a lot. I bought that. Like that's Amazon special. It wasn't the cheapest thing on Amazon, but it was the cheapest one I could find in orange. So
you and that orange.
I love it, man. I love it.
But yeah, it was definitely a good trip. Definitely could have come home with more stuff if we really had wanted to. Apparently I could have brought home I could have gotten a whole, since my backpack technically counted as my small under the seat, I could have gotten like a full-size carry-on bag somewhere and brought more stuff home. But I got too much stuff here anyway. So
yeah, well, that's why I had one bag, which was my camera bag, and then I had my other bag, which is my laptop and live streaming stuff. So I had 2 backpacks. So one was the overhead and one was the under the chair. So it worked out, but yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I'm number one thing is I'm glad so far I've not come home sick. I should be at work tomorrow for the first day of the semester, unlike last year where I was nursing some illness in central Arizona. Took almost a week to get back home and then longer to recover. So I was a little mindful of that this year. Once bitten, twice shy.
Yep. Ryan's wanting to know, did you get an antic bike? Was that the name of the wheelie bike that we looked at?
Yeah, that was the name of those little wheelie things.
Yeah, I dared him to do that, Ryan, and I recorded it hoping it was going to be a funny video, and he actually was able to do it. I'm going to say that it was not because Steve has exceptional balance, but because the machine is exceptionally strong, because he looked like a gorilla on a unicycle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that was the thing, is that bike was pushing it for, I mean, it was hard to sit on that thing and hold the handles and not like twist the throttle and all this stuff. So it was it's kind of like doing 3 or 4 things at once, even though the machine's trying to balance for you. You got to like still keep your balance and, 2 axes and not twist this while leaning back. But it was, yeah, some of that was kind of fun. So that was actually one of the media things where it was a little less chaotic and easier to kind of play around with some of the non-related things to our channel. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Checking out some of those things. And we looked at some more of your gimbals and such as well at those things, and lots
I got a lot of stuff for the home channel as well. So
and then one of the cool things, one of the media ones, is there was this Japanese company that they're developing some AI CAD 3D modeling design stuff. And so they were kind of they weren't, it was more like they weren't like real time demonstrating it, but they kind of had some examples of it. And I'm trying to look Tokoshi Inc. So they had me fill out an interest form to maybe get early access to it. And so we'll see. Maybe that's something that becomes available for people who want to 3D print some things, but they don't want to spend too much time messing around with CAD and don't mind paying for some AI credits for it. So that was kind of a unique thing. There's, of course, a lot of AI everywhere, including AI in a box.
The Hitem 3D or Hitem 3D or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's actually, they actually are the ones that, according to the person, that are embedded into Xtool software. And we're able to talk to them. I sent them an email this morning because I've actually got an account that I created with them already. So yeah, it was very interesting.
But more in the vein of our genre here and what everybody hangs out here for. Of course, we saw the Xtool booth, and they had one of their UV printer cases kind of encased in this acrylic case. You couldn't see a whole lot, but you could kind of see the machine. And then for people like ourselves, we were able to go back and look at their prototype. You already got your video out on it. I'm still working on mine. They say it's going to be out Q2.
Yeah, tentatively.
We'll see. This is still a prototype. It's not, they're not at production level yet. It was a little bit bigger than the Eufy, but it didn't have, it's, from what I could tell, because they were really trying to hide the inside. They did show us the larger working bed, which is basically the same size as the Eufy, and it's kind of a sling bed style. And they had a smaller internal working bed that they were working off of. I couldn't tell if it was maybe a touch bigger than the stock Eufy one, but roughly the working plates were the same size. But I kind of feel like they had a taller interior space so that maybe they could fit larger things in there. And they're going to have a tumbler jig, and it sounds like a roll-to-roll adapter for DTF stickers and things like that. I would say the speed is about there as Eufy, and the quality of the images are, for the sample ones they sent us with, they're good, and they're probably about the same of what I've seen off the Eufy. So, we'll see. It's going to work with the Xtool Creative or Xtool Studio software, which then will allow it to interface with lasers to do things like print to cut. So there's some benefits there. and software that people are familiar with. Of course, they will probably have more AI credit plugins for a lot of things and whatnot, but yeah, not a lot of new details on it. They do have their Facebook pages that they're asking people to join and help develop the product. And so we'll kind of see. I mean, it's great to see them entering that arena. It's great to see others there because, competition generally does breed lower prices and or better features. But as for when it will actually be ready to release, I guess we'll see. Xtool's got some good resources behind them, but I kind of felt the same way with Anchor Eufy. They've been, struggling to meet their timelines.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a cool technology to look into. But just for people who are looking at it, just be mindful of, it's not like your inkjet printer. These UV resins, they have VOCs. Now the Xtool printer has an internal air scrubber, but it also can hook up to their AP2. So they have thought about ventilation and using the carbon filters in the AP2 to help work with that. But it's not something you're going to do, in your kitchen. And the inks are still a little more expensive. They have a shelf life. So it's kind of, you got to be something you're doing it fairly often, or you're going to be really wasting the ink, which is already kind of expensive compared to other mediums and such. It's not the kind of thing you pull out on occasion to use. So, but more from that as we get out there. But I mean, the other thing that I would just say in the Xtool booth is got to see the metal
fab.
machine, the metal fab in person. It's bigger than I thought. As far as the outside, I mean, it's bigger than your typical chest freezer.
Yeah, it was like washing machine dryer size, or maybe probably a little bigger than
bigger.
A
Yeah. I mean, it was like 4 foot cubed, it seems, and it just, until you see that in person and kind of start visualizing in your shop, you're going, wow, that takes up some space. But their booth was hopping. It was busy. It was kind of actually hard to get in there and film much. But we did what we could, and so I'll have a video out on that soon. Of course, we did also visit a Cell Laser. We're there with their Galvo gantry machine, and they had set up a time with me to check that out. And it definitely is fast at the engraving. Of course, they're doing a lot of line engravings. They did do a photo one, a nice Abe Lincoln photo one, and I will say the quality is there as far as it, segments it out and does multiple passes. The accuracy was there. It is a water cooled laser, so it's got that little compressor chiller similar to like the Atom Stack Glacier. So that's an add-on to think about. They were using a fume clear air purifier there, which takes a standard 4-inch port, which was kind of nice to see on that one. They didn't demonstrate the cutting, but they did show that it has a nozzle that it parks it in the back. So it's kind of like an automatic tool changer on a CNC machine, where when you reference a cut command, it's supposed to go pick that up and then bring it back to the cutting area and fire up the air pump on that. So it was cool to see it in person. It's definitely a bigger machine, looks well built. But that one, they're still projecting that, what they say, the Kickstarter ones they hope to have shipped out before June, and then any of the pre-orders that are going now post Kickstarter, that would be shipping post June. So yeah, that was kind of cool to see them as well and get some time to talk with them. And of course, Michael from Laser Engraving 911 was spending a couple days with them, helping them out. So we got to chat with him a little bit as well.
Mark's asking, were there any consumer level injection molding machines like the Kickstarter campaign from Saltgator? I did not see any. Did you see any injection molding? I didn't.
It's hard to say. I mean, I wasn't looking for them, and there's so many things, and they try to lump similar things somewhat together, but not right on top of each other. But it's still easy. I mean, there were some hallways that I'm just like, I don't want to walk down that one. It's so
Yeah.
busy, so packed with people. And it was also later in the day, and I was getting kind of, I needed a break of people. So there were some certain areas we kind of walked through, but didn't really look too closely at. And there's, I mean, we spent the majority of, we were, the only day we didn't spend there was Friday, and we were there most of the day, most of the hours for most of the days. There's no way, unless you didn't talk to anyone, that you would see everything at CES.
I still think you'd get turned around unless you had some kind of mapping software. And
You'd have to
miss something.
You'd have to be very mindful of it. So
it is large, very large, and I've got some B-roll and some videos that I want to put. Like I want to do like a highlight of the companies that we work with and that we've directly interested by our audience. I want to kind of hit those machines first, but I do want to go back and do like an overall CES experience video. Once I've got the machines that everybody's like been messaging me, hey, did you get to see this machine? Hey, did you get those? Are the videos that I want to put out first, and then I want to do like a CES experience video to where I'm not really talking about the machines as much as I am, the experience as a whole. Like how do you get from point A to point B and all those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was wild. Now, me or Steve, neither one wound up getting physically injured either, because last time I destroyed my heel, like my Achilles tendon. I destroyed it. This year, I think it made it better. I think it actually helped it.
There was one of those days. I think both you and I got back, and we're like, you were like, your heels were hurting, my arches were hurting. I'm like, I got to switch my shoes out, and
yeah. So now I was alternating shoes every day. Yeah,
it was definitely a lot of on your feet time, and I go between I don't like standing still for too long, or then also sometimes like I'm been walking too long, so I need to sit down. And sometimes you get stuck in these conversations, and you're just like, I gotta move. But yeah, we also saw our friends at Creality. Hey Yuri, it was great seeing you. It was he's their 3D scanning wizard. Showed us their, what was it, the S1 was the one he was really showing us the detail with.
That thing was pretty bad. I've only got experience with a few 3D scanners. One of them actually was a Creality, but that one was pretty awesome.
So yeah, it was impressive to see that. But they also have a couple new things coming out. They've got their T1 Galvo style laser, and it's like a 4 or 5-in-1. So it's got two different diode modules. And then it's got a Galvo module and a UV module as well. And I think maybe did they mention it?
It's the T1. It's just like 5-in-1, I think is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, so there's a 20 watt and 40 watt diode, 20 watt fiber, 60 watt MOPA, and 5 watt UV. See, I got the thing right here.
Yeah, mine's in here amongst all the other ones.
But it actually has like these modules that slip in and out of the back of it, and so that looked really cool. It'll be exciting to see how that develops. But they also have their Spark i7, which is suspiciously a lot like a Bamboo A1.
Yeah, it's like the first cousin of an A1, I think.
But they also have a kind of their light. They call it this what is it, CFS Lite. Is their 4-filament multi-filament adapter, but it's enclosed, so probably a little bit better than the AMS Lite. And that one, I think it's out for pre-order already, and I think it's only like $340 with, I think that's with the I don't know if that's with the CFS or not, but pretty good deal for a multi it's a bed slinger, open frame, but a multi-filament printer. And I'm excited to like actually see that. I actually got the contact of another was it Ryan he actually just lives north of me about an hour.
Your neighbor?
And he's one of their one of their salespeople here. And so he was telling me, he's like, hey, if there are things you want to check out, let me know, and I can bring them down to your shop. So they have that. They have a couple other. I think they have a new four spool filament dryer that's like split in half, so you can have different temperatures running for that. They announced kind of this whole Spark series and a few other things out for 3D printing, and then that T1 laser, and then of course their scanners. So a lot of cool stuff at the Creality booth. It was fun to hang out with them and check some of those things out. Exciting to see them kind of continue to step up their game. And I know a lot of people like Bamboo for the quality, don't like Bamboo for the, kind of the lockdown architecture and such. And we'll see what Creality does with theirs, if maybe they are a little more flexible, a little more open perhaps, but it'll hopefully be a good option. Like I say, competition is generally good. So
yeah, like I said, the Creality booth was pretty good size, and they had all different kinds of machines, from the lasers, like you said, the lasers, the 3D printers, the scanners, and I was really impressed with the 3D scanner because I'm wanting to, get into kind of doing that around the shop, and it was pretty impressive what the one that they had, that new one, it was capable of. So looking forward to it. Whew.
Jared's asking, have I received new ink from Eufy? They get their printer on Monday, but no ink will. I haven't gotten ink in a while. But I still have some for now.
Look who's in the chat.
There we go. There's Yuri. But yeah, they had that issue with the magenta ink. And so hopefully they're getting caught up on that and can start shipping that out quickly for people. And hopefully from, moving forward, they've got the manufacturing bugs worked out and they can start ramping everything up. So yeah, I feel your pain though, because I've been conserving what I have for jobs that I need or really want to do until it's more readily available.
Yeah, Rob, as far as I know, Alien Cell was not there. They did not reach out to me and say they were going to be there, nor did I see them or have I heard from anybody else that they were going to be there. So as far as I know, they didn't participate this year. And keep in mind now, CES that's a bite for a company. Like from what we were told, you've got to want to be there pretty good, because it's not, they don't give the booth space away.
Well, what was it? The one booth just to get internet, they wanted like $7,000 or $8,000 for the
That's
week.
what we were told. It was like 9. I think he said 9 to get internet.
9,000? Yeah, it's crazy. So
now we don't know, but that's what we were told, and pretty good source. So yeah, Yuri saying the $339 with the CFS light on pre-order has a front door that opens outwards. Yeah,
that's a pretty good. I mean,
yeah,
you for an enclosed multifunction or multi-filament device, in what appears to be the quality of an A1, it's a pretty good deal.
Oh yeah, I've got to start looking at them again. Like I said, when I moved away from my Ender 3 and I got the A1, I've just kind of stalled out right there because it works for me, and I haven't, I just haven't been looking. But the more I run the Bigfoots and sell those things, I'm gonna have to do something. So we'll see. David Allen is saying the Spark i7 is $339 with a CFS. Said he just ordered one. So David will be able to tell us what he thinks of it here pretty soon. Chris, I really don't know. Like I said, people ask me about support all the time. I think it's a good thing when you don't know how well somebody's support is, because that means their product didn't break, right? Because everybody's asking me, well, how is their support? And my answer is, I really don't know, because I've never had their machine tear up, had to call them. So I guess that's a good thing that the machine doesn't break, but a bad thing because I don't get to test out their support. But somebody was asking me today about X-Tool support, and I'm like, I've had to call them one time for a problem with a machine. It took us about 4 days to get a resolution because of the time difference and so forth. But all in all, considering they're halfway around the world, it worked. and I use the same support channels as everybody else. So that's my only one experience with X-Tool support system through all of the machines I've ever had with them. I've only had to call them one time, and it was because I had a board that like basically bricked during firmware update, which may or may not have been, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I couldn't have done something wrong or the computer lost connection briefly, or, I don't think I did, but yeah, I think it was just, I had an early model of the S1 and I think the firmware did not agree with that board and it just bricked it. So we'll see. Wayne Young is, which filament dryer should I get for the A1? I'm gonna be honest with you. The filament dryer that I've got, I'm pretty happy with, and it was on a budget. I know Steve's got a couple. Which ones do you prefer?
The one that's sitting right there, that's the two spool Creality.
That's the one I got.
And that's like $80, give or take.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Very easy to use, jump between the types of filaments with their presets and such. And so that one's easier. I think the other one that I don't use as much. Oh, what is this? Yeah, it's a Sunlu one that I always, if I change the settings, I'm always trying to figure out which way to get back. So I use the Creality one the most. Of course, then I have on the Bamboo, I've got the Sunlu AMS heater. Yep, there's the one.
Yeah, that's the one I ordered. And as you can see, I last purchased it January the 28th of 2025. So I guess I've had it about a year now, and it works for what I do. My ritual is I put the filament in there when it needs to be dried, and I dry it with 2 or 3 packs of desiccant in there with it. And then once the drying cycle completes, I take the spool and a couple of little desiccant packs and put them in a gallon Ziploc bag, and I pull as much air out of there as I can and zip them up and stack them away, out of the way. Now, Steve did show me some high-speed, low-drag vacuum seal bags or whatever this week that I'm probably going to wind up getting to do that. But yeah, this is the one that I'm using. You can see I purchased it almost a year ago. So, and it works for what I do, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. It's not heavy, so you can store it away when you're not using it. So that's my approach to keeping it dry. Because I'm gonna tell you, if you don't dry your filament unless you use it up in the first week or two, you're gonna eventually it's gonna cause you problems unless you live in Arizona. Because Arizona dried me out to the point to where I needed humidity. I needed a humidifier, not a dehumidifier.
Yep. Yeah, I just dropped a link for that one in the chat for people if they want to check it out. But like I said, they also have a 4-spool one coming out, looks like. So
yep,
we might have to upgrade.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I got room for an upgrade right now. That's part of my problem is space. Me and Brandy were talking about that earlier.
Well, it's called the Space Pi.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it still takes up space. And I'm running out of space quickly. Medic saying, how much do you pay for space? If you're talking about at CES, I have no idea. But if the internet's $9,000, I'm guessing those little 10 by 10 spots are probably pretty pricey. So can't say for
sure. They pulled the reports on it, and they said it was 148,000 attendees, 6,900 media people. I forget how many actually people that went to display and present and such. So it's pretty big. So they can probably charge a pretty good price for that.
Norbert, I typically just would go ahead and get like a 6-inch, and you can get a 6-inch variable speed, and that way you can turn it down if you're just running one machine, or you can turn it up if you're running all of them. Minimum of like 4-inch line going to it. And I know you're bottlenecking a 6-inch fan on a 4-inch line, but it does add a little extra oomph to it. Because chances are you're not going to be running all three of those machines at exactly the same time. I mean, you could, but not very often. But I use variable speed fans. That way I can roll the speed up or down. So now, in a perfect world, you'd have individual fans for each one, but I know that's not really an option depending on where you have it, unless you have like a matrix of blast gates and Ys and splits and all that.
Yeah. Norbert's saying he uses a round food dehydrator and a 2.5 gallon bucket as a filament dryer for 4 spools. Will only go to 130 degrees. It's decent, it's cheap, and I've seen a lot of people do that as well. You want to add the heat and you want to pull that out, and that's really what dries it. So it doesn't need to necessarily be something special, but sometimes having the convenience and the control, or maybe the ability to print from it, depending on what you're printing, matters as well.
Yep. True Love Laser Works says, hi, David and Steve. I received my Genmitsu 3018 Pro Ver on 1/2/26. Great looking machine and cannot wait to start learning with CNCs. Thank you both for what you do and your vendors. Yeah, the 3018 Pro Ver, it's a built up. I think that one's built a little sturdier than your standard 3018, if I'm not mistaken. But it's still going to require you to have realistic expectations of what you can do with it if it's one of the 3018 series. But yeah, Genmitsu, in my opinion, when it comes to the small CNCs, I haven't found a company that makes them as well as they do. Yeah, it's still a 3018, but it does look like it's maybe a little stronger than some. But yeah, as long as you're, especially like with acrylics and thin woods and stuff like that, doing engraving, you should be good. But just have realistic expectations.
Chris is using that crazy Australian calendar.
It's not 1/2/26. Oh, he's doing that backwards military thing. 1st of February or whatever, however backwards.
Yep.
I'm trying to scroll through these comments. I've never used one of those, so the 3D pen. Couldn't tell you.
I think we bought one a couple years ago for one of the boys, and I don't know that we did much or he did much with it, so can't really recommend too much on it.
EMT Dave says winter shop humidity is less than 30%. Does that count as a filament dryer? I mean, technically, if your humidity is that low, then yeah, probably. Like right now, I'm down to 42% in here, and that's inside here with the heater running and everything. It's probably 80% humidity outside today because it rained yesterday.
It's 63% outside and 26 in here.
Good night.
Well, when you use a furnace to heat your air,
yeah,
it dries it out.
My floor would be popping at night if it's 26 degrees.
Well, I'm also, as I mentioned to you, we had that little bit of a plumbing issue that I'm running a dehumidifier down here.
Good Lord. Yuri said it was 20,000 just for carpet at CES.
Carpet is good.
Carpet was good, yeah. They had a nice looking booth though. I will say there was that as far as the lasers and CNCs and stuff like that we typically mess with. I will say Creality was stepping up their game. They had a good looking booth. The neons with the green, it was slick.
Yeah, I mean they had a good spot too. It was kind of on a main walkway. So they were visible, but they weren't like crammed in too tight. I mean, they were right next to, Make Era was on the other side of them, and whatnot. But yeah, it was a good booth. It was a little bit easier to get around, I think, than last year. Last year, I felt like they had a lot of people and it was in a tighter area. So
yeah, it was a little more stretched out this year.
But yeah. Trying to think if there's any. Oh, we did see X Laser Lab. They were there with a small booth. So they've got their laser welder rust remover thing, as well as they are coming out with a 10-watt UV laser. Now it's still in development because the two machines they had on display didn't even match each other. So
yeah, there were some minor differences.
But I will say it was smaller than others. I mean, I think that was even smaller than like your F1 Ultra. And it was quieter.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was crazily quiet, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So I mean, they had one guy working in the booth, and he seemed kind of frazzled a bit because he was waiting for the other guys to come, and so we were like trying to talk with him, but also like not completely bug him. And he demonstrated some simple things that, I mean, you could kind of do with just a traditional fiber laser. So nothing that we could really tell, hey, it works really well off of this, that, or the other thing, other than it was smaller and quieter.
Well, the one thing that they did do differently than some of the other UV lasers I've saw is they did have the removable base plate like the old F1 had, so that you could sit it on something and engrave it, which is something that's kind of missing in a lot of the other UV machines that I've seen. So
yeah, or it makes for a nice pocket for jigs, you know, rather than having to screw them in like you have to do with the F1 Ultra and the F2 and all that. Or not the F2, but the F2 Ultra.
Yeah, so I mean, there were some things that they kind of stepped in the right direction with, but you could tell that it was very much still a beta unit, I think, or at least one of them had to have been a beta. Like you said, there were some minor differences between the machines, but we did actually see one of them function.
Yep, and there were a lot of portable power station manufacturers and people out there. You know, a lot of no-name ones you haven't heard of, some kind of third party I was familiar with but hadn't seen, and then of course you got your EcoFlows, your Jackeries, Blue Eddies out there. But we did talk to one called EBL. They're out of California. Well, their sales thing is out of California, but of course, you know, most of their stuff is made in China. But they had some interesting balance of their units and such with solar power, different panels and different ratings and such. And so, you know, if we get a chance to, work with them a little bit, might be a balance of, you know, trying to find that dollar per watt hour range. We'll kind of see where their pricing's at with their features. They did have one that has a UPS mode in it that wasn't like too outrageous, and that's one thing that if I look for one in the future, I'm definitely going to be looking for, so that you can run it in kind of standby mode, hooked up to shore power, and have it take over when needed, rather than worrying about it. With a lot of these you can do that, but they're constantly putting power into the batteries and taking it out, and that runs those cycles down a lot faster than if it can bypass the batteries through the battery management system. Just say, hey, I've got enough voltage coming in from this other source, whether it be solar or AC power or something, and just feed it straight through. So we talked to them a little bit. And then you were looking at a bunch of mowers, and then we also talked to a few of the, because we both have interest in it, some of the drone manufacturers, and then of course the e-bike stuff, because we were having some fun with that too.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been looking to replace my drone, and being that I actually have my Part 107, I can use them for content, and I can review them and get made money off of them and all that good stuff. And this company here is now, like you just said, their office is in California. When I asked him if it was an American company, he said our offices are in California. So that's all I know on that. But I have checked, because he told me that they had replaced DJI in Best Buy as far as the Best Buy's drone option. And I checked this morning, and sure enough, if you go to, you know, Best Buy, that you can buy their drones there. So that's that's one thing that I'm looking at because I do need to replace mine. I've got an original Mavic that I've had since it first came out, and the batteries are getting to where after about 10 minutes, I get nervous that I'm gonna because it'll be like 60% battery, and then all of a sudden it's like 10% battery. So I'm ready to replace it, but since everything that's going on, I don't want to go throwing a bunch of money into that machine because next week they may ground it for me. So yeah, but yeah, looking at that. And like Steve said, y'all know I like my robot lawnmowers. Actually, I had to run mine today because my grass was getting a little tall. Because yes, our grass grows here in the winter months as well. Because it's been 75 degrees here all week and sunny, so the grass is actually grown up, 4 inches tall in spots. So I am looking at maybe trying out some more of those because those things are handy. And I need more than one to keep my yard up. So I talked to a few of those companies as well. And we'll see how that goes.
Cody's asking, how am I feeling post CES this year? And of course, because he was the unfortunate victim of my illness as well last year. But so far, I'm feeling pretty good. Like Clark said, just kind of got a little dried out there. But I didn't have to medicate up to fly home.
Yeah,
I've just been a little tired. But like I said earlier, I did not sleep the best out there. And we were going. So, I mean, we were busy.
Like 15,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
With backpacks.
Yeah.
On concrete.
So yeah, I kept catching up on my sleep a little bit this past couple of days, but hoping that I dodged it this year and we'll be able to go to work tomorrow and not have a fear of CES illness every time I think about going.
Yeah. John saying he's been running his Anycubic Cobra Max 3 for about 3 days, doing a bunch of 24-hour prints, and it's working great so far. So you got one of those you've been testing too, haven't you?
Well, it's not it's the Anycubic Cobra S1 combo. So it's a smaller than that one, but I was having some issues getting good solid first layer and did go through a bunch of first layer calibration tests. Had to make an adjustment of I think about -0.1 or no positive. Either way, it was off by 0.1 millimeter and it was just causing some issues. But since then, I got that kind of just started to dial that in before CES, and then I ran a couple prints now back home. So I think I've got my issues worked out with it. So I'm going to print a few more things, see if it's consistent, and then be able to get the review done on it.
Yeah. Chris Gallagher says, I heard DJI is getting out of drones. True or not? And I don't think they're getting out of drones except for in the United States. There was a bit of a little blow up between DJI and the DOJ and the FCC and everybody. And so I don't think we can't have any more DJI drones imported. I don't know. But I don't think they're getting out of them. I think they're just not selling them in the U.S. anymore.
Yeah, I think they're going to continue to have them outside the U.S. And they're going to see how things go here. Now, I did read, because that's one of the things we were talking with those vendors, or at least I was pushing them on.
Yeah.
It's like, so what about this? And some of them are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, that concerns me. There was a story on Reuters the other day that the U.S. Commerce Department plans to drop some of the imposed restrictions. So I don't know what that means for DJI. I think it's probably they're still going to be pushing on them, but hopefully that the kind of the blanket ban on all non-US drone equipment and whatnot is not going to go into effect, because there's no US company that's necessarily even interested in the consumer market, and a lot of the commercial market relies on the availability of things like motors and speed controllers and batteries and certain circuitry type things right now that the US just can't provide, at least not right now. So hopefully they're maybe going to dial those back a little bit and it won't be such a painful thing.
Ron Ballard says, can I go with you guys next year? Hey, as long as you can get there, you can come hang out with us for sure. Now I will tell you better start training about 3 months in advance for it though. Start walking, getting your steps in.
If you pay for all the meals and taxis,
Oh,
you're
wow,
welcome to
yeah.
come along.
Oh yeah, if you're willing to buy our food, heck yeah, man, come on.
Sheesh.
I'm gonna tell you, oof. It
Even
was
that,
not cheap.
even the bar tab that one night. Clack's
Yeah.
not a cheap date.
Hey, neither were you. So, all the best marketing LLC. He was up there. No, that's a different one. This is a different one. Never mind. Says Steve, just curious, where are you streaming from, room wise? You're in the you're in your third workshop, aren't you?
This is kind of my office space. So I have my computer here and some printer stuff, some file stuff. What you can't see back that way is some racks that store miscellaneous like cameras, drones, filament, paper, Legos, random stuff for photography. I've got my rowing machine. So it's kind of a multi-purpose room, but it's where I work from home, where I do a lot of 3D printing stuff and whatnot, but it's in the basement of my house. Mainly because no one else wants to hang out in the basement. It's too cold or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to use it.
Mercy. Chris with the short jokes up there.
Well, that's what I told everybody is that you wanted to try the Antic, but the bike was too big for you.
I don't know about that now. That little guy that was riding it was way smaller than me. DJS 7515 says, what does it cost to get into CES? We don't, I think you have to be somehow or another affiliated or like connected to the industry. So either you have to be a company that uses like buys stuff from those folks. You have to be like a manufacturer. Somehow or another, there has to be a nexus connecting you to the consumer electronics industry. Steve and I were able to use our media because of YouTube. We technically classify as, what they call it, digital content creation part of media. We're not like CNN, NBC media, but as far as, generally speaking, same principle. We have a smaller audience, but we did meet the criteria as media. And you have to apply. There's an application process. You have to send them some numbers. They look you up. They basically do like a background check on how your audience analytics are. And then you either get approved or disapproved. And we managed to both get approved due to our numbers. Now, smaller channels sometimes cannot get approved. So, if there's a couple of folks in here I know that have channels that, you could try, but they are particular to an extent. But I know we saw some folks up there that didn't have a lot of subscribers. So I don't know how low it goes. Well, but
yeah, and there's a lot of companies like when a vendor is attending, I think they get a certain pool of like people that they can kind of sponsor or bring in. Because you'll see places like, hey, fill out this form and we'll give you like a half off discount into CES or something like that. Now that may or may not include the affiliation or not. So but like you say, I mean, there are all types, and of course they have a dress code, which I feel like they really don't enforce. Because
no,
there were some people there that I'm like, okay, you're borderline in pajamas, everything from that to
especially some of the other content creators, like digital content creators. Some of them were, like you said, look like they just woke up.
I mean, I tend to wear hats a lot of time. I was going to wear them at CES and such, but yeah, it's kind of an industry specific one. And I mean, if you're into technology, like just general technology, it's fun to be there. If you want to go there to find out about cool laser and 3D printing stuff, it's a very small portion of what's out there.
Yeah, that's
and it's a very expensive week to spend in Vegas because they know, like I said, it was almost 150,000 people descending on this city. And actually, one of my staff, his wife works for Delta, and so he can fly space available. And he happened to be out there. Is it Saturday? Yes, yesterday. He sends me a picture. He's like, I'm just checking to make sure you didn't burn the place down. And he said he was talking with his cab guy and saying that, yep, everybody left Friday evening. The place is a ghost town again. And I'm sure the hotel rates went, down by 300%.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it was $30 to get a cab to go anywhere. Like by the time you left the tip, unless you were just like,
Well, and you have to
you were
leave a
just
tip.
not tipping at all.
I don't think there was an option to not.
No, it was 20, 30, 40, and 50%, I think, was your only option.
Yeah. And so I got one of the receipts here. For me to go now, mind you, you can literally see the airport from Mandalay Bay where we were staying at.
Yeah.
But it's a long walk. So it was 3 miles. The fare was $20.39. The 20% tip was $4.82. There's a $3 credit card fee, a 70-cent excise fee. So the total was $28.91 just to get back to the airport.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
it can be an expensive trip to go out there. It's not the cheap Vegas that is during non-event times where you can get a hotel in the middle of the strip for under $100 a night and not have to pay for taxis too much and all that. So
Yep.
oh, anyway, so yeah, it was fun. We'll have more videos coming out, and hopefully some connections from that will provide some future content as well.
Laser Lab LLC is asking, is the Reno rotary issue just the Pro A-arm controller? Anyone know if the GRBL version works? Looking at a desktop CO2, it was about to pull the trigger until I saw Clack's video. Now, the roller, if you use a roller, I think you would be okay. I think the problem with that machine is using a chuck, because you can use a chuck. If you're like a savant with math and you can do math real good, you can use the chuck, but you're going to have to scale your image appropriately to counteract being able to input the measurements you need. I was able to do it with one tumbler. I did a tumbler and it looked okay. But there was a whole lot of testing went into it to figure out what the scale was. And then I had to scale it. So not saying you can't do it, but you will pull your hair out trying unless you're really, really good with math. And I'm not good with math. So you've tried similar with one of your machines, didn't you? Did you try it with the Reno as well?
I haven't tried it with the Reno, but I was playing around with the Omtech Polar Lite. Now it does have a Ruida controller in it, but it didn't seem like it was taking the adjustments from Lightburn for the chuck rotary. So I need to look at that a little deeper to see why, because it should allow it to. Now I had to block the whole machine up to get everything to fit right and whatnot, but I was hoping to kind of come up with that kind of combination of what would work there. But yeah, I'm not sure if the GRBL controller on the regular Reno would take those adjustments properly or not. I mean, you would think it wouldn't be any different than the GRBL controllers for, that it would still do the math and the conversions like that what does for any of the diodes. But I hate to say, yeah, it should be fine without actually being able to test it with the number of problems we've run into with some of the lower end ones.
Yeah, I'm like you though. If it's a standard GRBL, you would think you could. Now you'd have to unplug the stepper, and that might be unless it has a plug in it. But that might be a bit of a challenge. But I said the top wisdom is just everything I've read, and I went into a bunch of forums and read around, and everything that I have found, nobody has said that you can do it easily. So, because I was like, maybe I'm just not. Because sometimes you overthink things and it's simpler than it appears. So I was like, let me go look in some forums, look at some other folks' opinions on this and see if I'm just missing the mark. And then when I went back and looked, the consensus was basically the same that I had came up with, that it's just not set up for chuck style rotary work. It's made to be used with a roller, and it's actually specifically made to work with their roller, which I think it was like a 25 millimeter rollers, and they already had everything configured for the one that they sell. So yeah.
Yeah, when I say cheap Vegas, I mean like normal time Vegas. If you go on off times, you can still get a reasonable rate for a hotel room, as opposed to some of these hotels, because my guy at work, he travels there quite often with his wife. He was saying like, no, we pay like a third what you're paying for those rates that they were listing for CES week. So they kind of jack up a lot of the prices for that week. So
Yeah. Chris,
I have to look into the specific Ruido controller to see if this has a known issue with rotary adjustments. So I was hoping it would, because that would kind of give it a notch, and kind of here's a budget CO2 laser that you can still use a chuck style rotary with. Because with the problems we're seeing with the Reno Pro controllers, it'd be nice to be able to say, hey, here's a different one, similar size, but we will have to see on that one. And you're probably better off going to the Print United Impressions. There's the APA conference is in Vegas, and it's a lot for the customization market. But there's some classes around, using lasers and other similar tools to do product customization. There's a lot of laser manufacturers there. So like Acela Laser is going to be there. I believe X Tool. I'm not sure of all the others, but it's a cheaper one to go to that's probably a little more focused. And of course, like we've been talking recently, the Next Level Maker Conference is going to be a lot more targeted at what we're doing here. But they're also trying to pull in more 3D printing, CNC routers, probably UV printing stuff, and also have some of the classes. Now, the two of us are hoping to make it there. We're just kind of looking at scheduling and pricing. I think I saw they're hoping to start offering early bird pricing on the tickets around February 1st. This is for, what is it? I think the 25th through the 27th of August.
That sounds right, but don't quote me.
It's around that week. And I think the normal rate for tickets was going to be something like $300 if you want access to everything. I think they also have you get into the vendor area for maybe $100 or $150. I think they've done that in the past as well. So something to look out for if you're looking for a conference to maybe go to be able to talk with, laser manufacturers, materials and suppliers and software things related to that, as well as some classes on, using them and running your business. So.
Okay, I'm just going to use the AI. I was going to go to their Facebook page, but I looked at two Facebook pages that they have, and neither one of them had the date readily available. Looks like it's going to be August 27th to 29th. Yes, Grapevine, Texas, which is a little over 10-hour drive from here. So I'm probably just going to strike out and drive it. I'm going to be honest with you, because I don't know that you're looking at 2 tanks of gas going over, 2 tanks of gas coming back, and maybe some parking. I mean, if it's 2 tanks, because I think I can almost get 400 miles out of a tank in the F-150.
For me, it depends on when I can actually get away from work that week. It's the first week of fall semester, and so I might not be able to leave. I might have to be at work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And if that's the case, then I'm not going to spend 2 days to drive and get there late. I'll look at airline tickets and such. If I can leave earlier, I'd rather drive myself. Makes it easier to pack, bring things back, bring things to give to people, things like that. So, and I don't know. I don't have a fear of flying. I just hate the hassle of it between you can't pack this in your bag. You can only pack that much stuff. And
don't let nobody mess around and give you like a Swiss Army knife as an attendance gift.
Yeah, that happened at Workbench Con.
Yeah, Workbench Con, where they was handing out like those little
it was in the kind of the bag everybody got of one of the companies had one though, and so they had to warn everybody like, check your bags because you don't want to get surprised at the airport.
Yeah.
I said, well, that's not a problem. Clack's driving me.
Yeah, we got lucky on that one. But now that one we're looking at doing, and then we found out about another one this past week that
DIY
maybe on the radar. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We got to look into it a little bit more.
That's in November, I think, in the Dallas area as well. But we've just heard about it and not recommending it or anything, but it's on the radar.
Yeah, we got to do some research. It's a new one, and may or may not be something we're interested in. We don't know yet, but we'll see. But I would say the next level maker is definitely that's going to be one of mine that I'm going to try my best to make it to this year. So we'll see.
Laser Lab LLC says I may just find the room and go with the big ohm tech. It's really not a crazy price jump. If you're looking to do tumblers or any like the ammo boxes or those Lowe's home or Harbor Freight toolbox things, you're going to love the extra space in even the Maker 25 that I had. That had a lot more space for working with deeper items, and it natively works with, you got to get the 4-pin aviation style connector chuck rotary for it. But yeah, if you've got the space for one of those, the price of one of those isn't a whole lot over like the 65 Pro or even like the Polar. So yeah, I would definitely look at those as an option if you're looking at anything other than just flat sheet material.
Yeah, that's what is it? The 2240, I think it is what I was looking at. If I needed to upgrade, and I've thought about doing it, is it the 2240? Hey, look, OhmTech laser.
The Pronto 40 was
that was it. About. Yeah, the Pronto 40. That thing, it's nice. So,
but the
my problem is right now is the room that I have. It's like I don't.
Yep.
I don't want to go jumping into a Pronto yet. But that's it. The Pronto 40 because it's a 90 watt and it would give me just enough work area to be able to do stove covers and stuff in. And it's only $5,000 plus, the other incidentals. So
Mr. Grimm is asking, are closed loop motors worth the price bump? I was going back and forth between Genmitsu and Fox Alien. I also found Millwright CNC. Any suggestion for the first CNC 1K or less? Do you need them? No. But are they useful? It can prevent you from running into issues where your machine loses steps but keeps, Clack was running that with a couple when he was doing those 3D carves.
Yeah.
Where it loses a step and it loses a step and loses a step. Pretty soon you're like, why is my thing off?
Yeah, it looks like it's sliding.
It's much better at preventing that kind of situation. So their accuracy can be better, but depending on the type of jobs you're doing and the level of investment, you can definitely save money by not going with them. Now, it's a first CNC under 1,000K or 1,000K, 1K, $1,000. The Fox Alien is probably going to put you just above that. It is definitely a nice machine. Now they still have the expanded Y axis. And I think you could even maybe do the X and Y, grow it into a bigger machine if you want, but that's kind of an expensive way to get a larger machine. The Saint Smart, the 4040 Pro Max is a good one, but I feel like I heard they maybe discontinued one of their extensions for it. So
somebody was saying was it the Y or the X?
Yeah,
somebody was saying, but no, I think it was the Reno that they said that about, because the Reno is built different. If you remember, the Reno had smaller.
Oh, okay.
Rails. I think it was the Reno that they said had been discontinued.
Okay, so they do have. Okay, they still have this. The XZX, the extension kit. Okay, so they do still have that. Well, that one's also $950 now for that one. I mean, that one is it's going to be hard to go wrong with either the 4040 Pro Max or the Fox Alien Masuda 3S. Both are some quality machines. But your limiting factor there is the size. It's nice to have those expansions to them because for $350 you can expand it, get some more space out of it. But at some point, you start overpaying for continuing to expand that machine over what you could get just straight up. So, but out of the ones I've tested without jumping too far above that $1,000 price range, those are the two I would definitely look at. They both have offline wireless controllers, so you can take your pick there as well. But yeah, I don't know. You have any other thoughts on that?
No. The 4040 Pro Max and the Fox Alien Masuda 3S are currently the two best performing, in my opinion, in that 4040 class machine. So whichever one best suits your budget. Do you have to have, or do you necessarily need closed loop steppers? My Shapeoko 5 Pro over there does not have closed loop steppers. I've never really had a problem with not having them on it. Like you said, the closed loops, if you ever start having problem, they're really good to have. It's kind of a fail safe, but as long as the machine's properly maintained, everything's tensioned, you don't have anything binding, your feeds and speeds aren't too crazy out of whack, you should be okay without them. Because the Genmitsu's machines are pretty sturdy unless you just get insanely crazy with feeds and speeds. So yeah, I mean, at that point, I think it's just a preference of look at the upgrade path for the two different machines. I do like Fox Alien's spindle, the 1.5 kilowatt spindle that they sell. And I know you said you want to be below $1,000, so that's probably not going to be in your initial purchase, but you could get it later on. But on the flip side, you can also buy the Fox Alien spindle and put on the Genmitsu machine. So, or any other 1.5 kilowatt spindle that you wanted. So I mean, look at the upgrades and what the packages that are available are, and I would say decide from there. Because I've had good luck with both machines, and I really have nothing bad to say about either. I use G-Sender for both now, and I think you've pretty much moved over to strictly G-Sender as well, hadn't you, Steve?
Yeah.
And both machines function the way they're supposed to. So.
Yeah, Kevin's got a good point too. The Onefinity came out with their Apprentice series machines. It's another option. It's in that price range. It's $995, and you get the same working area as these, but you will have to provide your own spindle. So that could be as simple as a $65 Harbor Freight trim router on up to a $400 to $500 spindle set and such. The Fox Alien, kind of the same thing. They give you a 400 watt spindle. With it, you're probably going to want to upgrade to at least a trim router style, which is going to be at least in that $60 range. In Shapeoko, they were selling their trim router one with the ER11 collets for around $60 or $70. Whereas the Genmitsu does come with that. So definitely some options out there. The Onefinity, you're also going to have to work out your own spoil board and such on, where the others kind of have them built in. So you gain a little bit of machine rigidity with the Onefinity, but you lose in the fact that you still have to add on some things to complete it. Plus, you'll have to build a table for this. The others will set on an existing one. So some things to look at, that they're not all apples to apples.
Yes. Mike Thompson says, what size are your stove covers? 22.5 by 30.5. That would be 22.5 on the Y and 30.5 on the X. So, yeah, that's why I got to have a good size machine, because I do those. Matter of fact, just today, I invoiced for the ones that I got piled up over there, right there. And I got a sign that I've been working on right there too. In fact, I'll show you that. I'll show you my cool little sign I just finished. It's been sitting over here drying today. I had to clear coat it today. Whoop whoop! Check it out. Check it out. Yeah, I got about 2 more coats of clear coat, and I'll be happy. You can see my little my light reflecting on it already. But I'm gonna put about 2 more coats of clear coat on it, and then I got to flip it over and do the back because I like to seal it. So the back hasn't been sealed yet. But yeah, there you go. That's and that's a little over 32 inches. I have to put it in a laser to try to get them as wide as I can get them. So this is the kind of stuff that I have got to have a machine capable of doing 32 to 36 inches, because I do these for people all over the place up here, for nurseries, birthday parties, gender reveals, you name it. And they pay pretty well. Because very few places, a matter of fact, I've got a guy coming tomorrow afternoon who is driving 60 miles from Montgomery, Alabama, to bring me some cedar, what do you call them, treasure chests that he made for his grandsons. And he couldn't find anybody to engrave them until he got 60 miles out to me. So he's supposed to be here. He's got an appointment set up tomorrow to bring them by. He's going to bring them in. I'm going to engrave them. And he's going to leave with them. That way I have to make 2 trips, because that's a long way to drive to drop something off and then come back and pick it up. And I'll probably try to make a video with it if he says it's okay. If he says he'd rather not, or it's a surprise or whatever, I may not do it. So, but yeah, my plan is to use one of the UVs. I don't know which one yet. It's probably going to be the X tool. I'm just going to be honest with you, because of the camera, because the pictures he sent me of the boxes, I'm going to have to work around. So he put metal strapping around them. It looks like a miniature little treasure chest. It's got metal strapping on stuff on it. So I'm going to have to kind of work around all of that. So I'll probably use the X tool. And I'm going to be honest with you, the big reason is because the X tool has a framing laser on it. The camera makes it easy, but the framing laser makes it perfect. And so I keep going to the X tool because of that. I like my Omni, but that little paddle thing doesn't always work the way I want it to. So
yeah.
Now, if I'm batching out 100, business cards, or if I'm doing, serial numbered stuff and I need that sequential numbering and light burn, then I'll jig it up and do it on the Omni. But one-offs like that, I done got to where I like the X tool for that. Mostly because it frames.
Clack gets all the cool UVs.
Hey, I'm sorry, dude. I got a big S3 over here. Or P3. P3. Yeah.
Hey, I clarified.
Let's see here. Let's see what we got. I think we caught up. I mean, at least I am. Unless if your comment got overlooked, guys, feel free to drop it back up there. It doesn't offend us. And you can put a question mark in front of it if you want to make sure we see it, because sometimes there's conversations going on in the lobby. And so when you're scanning through there, you miss them.
Here's an interesting comment. Tony says, David, Shopsmith is rebuilding the company under a new owner and should have stock available mid-year. Dust collection, 1.5 horsepower, selling for about 1.1K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mean like that Shopsmith dust collector over there? Yeah, I like mine. If I think they need to lean into the CNC world with their dust collection, because I'm telling you, the thing works awesome. Like, I don't have issues with dust collection on my CNC. It works great. So,
Jared Grady is saying, I seen the other day on a channel, a guy was using some powder to view the framing instead of the paddle. I think Michael at Laser Engraving 911 used some of that, and it's an option, but now you got to do the whole little, sprinkling dust on it like salt. I mean, it's an option, but spending another $1.50 to add in the red dot framing laser into the
com marker
No.
kind of
that was kind of a
and
annoying cheap
I
out.
know they can do it because they did it with the B4 I used to have.
Yep.
Their fiber laser. I mean, I had the B4 and I had the B4, I had the Commaker Q1, which was a blue laser. They've done it with all of them. So I don't know. I don't know why with this one they didn't. But yeah. But it's not that I can't do it with the Omni. I could if I needed to, but I got a perfectly good UV X-Tool UV sitting over there. And so it's just going to be simpler to do it with that. Plus, if the guy's standing here watching them engrave, they're 8 inches by 6 inches size. I can actually put them inside the X-Tool and shut the door so that I don't have to worry about him, not putting on glasses when told to do so. So I like that idea better when I have people in the shop, being able to just shut the door on it. I don't mind it when it's just me because I'll wear my glasses, but I don't need that liability. So, Harold's Flyers 5154 says, can't wait to see y'all if you get the Grapevine, if you can make it out. Can't wait a minute. Did I say that right? Can't wait to see y'all if you get to Grapevine, if you make it out. Oh, yeah, I guess he's saying if we make it out there, he wants to see us. Yeah, and we'll try to make sure that we set something up to where, especially if I drive, because the thing in Vegas, the problem with Vegas was transportation was rough. It was long days and long nights in Vegas. We didn't have a lot of time. Thursday, was it Wednesday night? Was it Thursday night? Thursday night. Thursday night was the only night that we didn't have something going on in Vegas. And as much money as we spent to go out there, we had to take advantage of every business opportunity we had to try to recoup some of that long term. We're not, we're still out the money, but what we hope is that the connections we make with companies and stuff like that will benefit us in the future so that in 2026, we can kind of recoup some of our money. Some of it's just gone. But yeah, but with Grapevine, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be the same way. I think it's going to be more of a hangout. And then during the day, you can make contacts. So I feel like we'll have more idle time there to hang out and sit around, drink a couple of apple juices or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it will be $9 an apple juice.
I think it'll be more like Workbench Con where things kind of calm down by dinner and then you've got the evening. So yeah, hopefully we can do better there, and or like you and I were talking, if I make it down your way or you up this way or both, we'll try to plan it out a little better. But definitely that one is strong on both of our radar. As it'll be us, but other content creators, other makers. It's a lot more targeted at kind of what we all do. So
yeah.
Oops. Aldrich Custom Craft says the Sculpt Fund has a red focus and framing laser for their, I'm assuming they're talking about their UV lasers. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to see that one too much. I know they've been shipping it. And so if they've included it, they definitely were paying attention and made it a bit easier.
Tony, I have the DC 6000, which is the 1.5 horsepower. And I also have if you look at mine, instead of the 16-inch top hat that it comes with, I've got like the 24 or 36. It's massive. Like I got the other one too, but they upgraded me to the really, really high micron level top hat for it. So it's very, very nice. Matter of fact, this is actually the one that I have. And until they went belly up, I actually had an affiliate account with them. I met the new owner that had it, 2 years ago? Year ago? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. I met the new owner when they first started coming out with this, and I got the DC 6000. And it's a 1.5 horsepower. Like I said, it is a beast. It does a really good job with the Shapeoko. So that's the one that I have, and it's done me a really good job, and I like it. And if the company comes back and they continue to sell those, I will be talking with them too and making sure my links are still good. So, because it is a good machine, and it's been in all my videos. Matter of fact, there is my review video of the DC 6000 if you want to watch that. But yeah, I've had that one for about 2 years now, and I have no complaints. I've had to empty the bag several times, but luckily I have not punched any holes in the bag because I can't find bags that size that are clear around here anywhere. I'd have to order them from Shopsmith, and I was kicking myself in the rear for not ordering them previously before they shut the doors. So
G Hertalt, I'm not sure how that username is asking, did either of you test the Reno non-pro machines at all? No, they weren't offered. I was only offered the 45 Pro a little over a year ago. And they've talked with me about the one with the camera, but I told them no, I was too busy, but to talk to me if they came out with the 65 Pro with the camera, as it would be a better comparison of the 45 to the 65. But haven't had a chance to take a look at the non-pro machine. Back when they offered the one to me, the non-pro was not Lightburn compatible, so I was kind of like, didn't want to have to use RDWorks, or not even RDWorks, but the laser DRW or whatever.
That Monport, I think they got that M Studio or whatever too.
There were a couple options for it, but now their newer one, the newer non-pro, does support Lightburn, which is good. So it's just a little bit slower, but yeah, we can't confirm the rotary issue with it either. So Chris is asking, what sort of percentage can you claim as business expense? Most of the trip can be claimed that way. Not necessarily the bar tab per se, but
drinks with customers, entertaining customers. Steve, I mean, you do buy my files occasionally.
Well, it doesn't have to. It can also just be business things as well. So, but most of it is, of course, an expense. There might be some caveats to it, but
I think the meals. I think some of the meals, like unless it's entertaining somebody else, I think the meals are.
You only get like half of it or something. Just kind of depends on the travel status and these other things. But yeah, I mean, it's still close to a couple $1,000, give or take. You had more because you brought your assistant along.
Yes.
So you had extra plane tickets.
I had 2 flights. I had 2 luggage claims. I had 2 of meals. I had a lot of stuff. Now she did pay for a lot of her food. We'll give her that because she wanted to kind of go do her own thing with meals a few nights because her taste in food and mine aren't exactly the same. But yeah,
they're better.
Yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed it. But no, I will say this: QuickBooks does all of mine for me, but you have to code it for QuickBooks to know what to do with it. And so anytime I'm with somebody that's work related and we're having drinks, I'm counting that as entertaining customers, and we'll see what QuickBooks does with it. So, but yeah, it's fun, and it's like me and Steve have talked about. These trips are kind of like, because there's days, guys, that you decide you get home from work, and in the case of somebody who's still working, which I'm not now, but I did for several years, and you get home from work and you're like, I really don't feel like going to the shop, but I need to. I need to keep my content coming. I need to get jobs out. I need to, like today, I had to come here and glue these darn letters on this sign and glue it together. I had everything cut and had it drying while I was in Vegas, but I had to glue it all together today. And so you have to make yourself do this stuff. Well, those trips are kind of the little pat on the back to tell yourself thanks, because it's a bit of a fun experience, but it is very heavily work related. And, I don't go out there to party and stay slobbering drunk or anything like that. I go out there to have a good time, have a little fun with my buddies, with Steve and everybody, but to work, make contacts, come up with, ideas and things like that. So it was a lot more work than it was entertainment, but it's still fun because this is what I love. I enjoy this. So yeah. But I liked it. Yeah, Tony's saying large trash bags work. Yeah, they're black. Ones I can find around here. I'm looking for some clear ones because I like to be able to look at it because it looks like that Neapolitan ice cream when you're doing like white oak, black walnut, cherry, cedar. Like it has the different layers in the bag. So I think that's cool.
I know. Yeah. I think I found some generic ones for my jet dust collector on Amazon. So
yeah, I probably can.
Depending on the diameter, it's probably just you'd have to compare the diameter, make sure it's not too far off. So
yeah, I need some thick meal because that bag that's on there is thick. Like it's like tarp thick.
Yep. TJ Michael is asking, what is the best free 3D CAD to learn?
I'm not really, I've never really used a whole lot of free ones, so I'm kind of not the guy to ask about that.
Yeah, in the free realm, I mean, Tinkercad will get you going. I've done some videos on that just to kind of help people get started with it. SketchUp has a web-based one, I think that's still free. And then there's, I forget, is Onshape. I thought that's you have to pay for that. I don't remember the pricing for that, or whether they have a free version or not. You can look at Fusion 360 has a kind of a maker version that has some limitations. It's a little more deep and involved, but that would be another one to look at too. But it's kind of a thing where the free ones will kind of dip your toe into it. And if you're just doing like 3D printing stuff, like the Orca Slicer, the Bamboo Slicer, they have some 3D modeling tools in there as well that you can use to get by. But it might be worth it to look at some of the other paid programs to really get, I mean, if you're going to really start doing it a lot. But trade skillers, sometimes events can be two people. Yes, I agree.
Steve gets that bug sometimes.
It's part of the reason I don't like airline flight is if people drove the way they walk, there'd be a lot more accidents. And so yeah, you get just too many people around you. You're wanting to walk from point A to point B. You got people that will just stop in front of you because they don't know where they're going or they're looking at their phone. You got these salespeople trying to pull you in for very weird things that Clack will get attracted to and go talk to them up about. And sometimes you just need to kind of get away. And unfortunately, at this one, we weren't staying at the place, so this is mixed. The two primary sites are the Las Vegas Convention Center and the Venetian Convention Center. It's really expensive to stay at the Venetian Hotel. It's really expensive to stay at any of the area hotels right downtown by that strip. So they have shuttles that will take you in the morning to the sites and during the day in between the sites, but they don't really start going back to the other hotels till about 4 p.m. And so you're kind of stuck there unless you want to pay a lot to get away. So you're like, you try to find a quiet corner, sit down somewhere and do some of that stuff. For me, it just, after a while, I'm like, I need a break from people. Let me get away from people for a minute. So I agree with you that as well. So like I say, it was 100. I think like the thing they sent out the other day was 148,000 attendees. So that's, and surprisingly, and I mentioned this to Clack while we were there, 148,000 people spread across these huge convention centers, and we're still running into people multiple times that we met just in line and we were chatting with them, or other content creators that were like, oh hey, you
walk around a corner and it's like a guy that it's like wow, what's the chances?
So it's both big and small. Ryan says bar tabs are marketing.
I agree.
Uh,
Jack saying FreeCAD's not bad, but like I said,
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't used it. I've used Fusion since I started and hadn't come out of it. But now I use it a lot. I've got I got 2 freaking fundraisers I got to do, and one of them waited to the last minute. So this week, guys, I've got to come up with projects for a fundraiser for our local YMCA. I'm going to sponsor them. I'm going to get tickets to the dinner, and I'm going to be donating to their silent auction. And been trying to come up with things to do for it. And Brandy seems to think that because everybody around here that saw my flag that I did over there, the 3D flag with the painted, the stain or whatever, she said everybody likes it. So I think we may wind up trying to do some of those. So tomorrow, I don't have any wood dry that's big enough to do one of those with. So tomorrow I'm going to a friend of mine's place who, when I quit doing sawmilling, I started sending all my customers to him because he's got a sawmill. He went and got him a commercial kiln to dry the lumber with and all that. So I'm going to check with him, see if he's got any pieces I can use to do those projects with. And if not, I'm going to take and go to Rugby and buy myself a couple of overpriced pieces of wood to do some flags with. Because I need like some 8-quarter, 10-quarter. I mean, I need some like thick material to do these flags with, or either I'm going to have to flatten them out a little bit.
So WM Furlow is asking, for the Bamboo A1, would you recommend the AMS Lite or pay the extra for the AMS 2 Pro?
I got the Lite. I love it.
The Lite works well. I mean, you do have to be mindful if you're in a high humidity area, it can affect your filament. And so that would really be kind of the difference. Is the AMS 2 Pro is going to keep it enclosed. You have some desiccant packs in there. You can actually get the power adapter to be able to dry it in there. So it would save you the cost of a separate dryer, which, for 2 spools is about $70. 3 spools is going to be about 120, or 4 spools would be more like 120 to 150. So if you look at it that way, it's probably worth the upgrade to the 2 Pro. Now there's no, I don't know that there's a mount for that to go on top of your printer, so it's going to have to sit somewhere. And you also have to buy the little hub. So you're talking about an extra $300 plus whatever that hub costs as well. So you're spending a little bit to add that functionality. So I guess, otherwise it's basically $100 uplift to get the A1 with the AMS Lite. So, if you don't have a filament dryer and you want to get the power brick and everything for that, it might be a nicer way to do that. Because I do feel you need to have a filament dryer, even if you don't. I sit mine in the open here, as you see that, but I will pull them off. If they've been sitting out for a while, I'll pull them off and dry them from time to time. Now, if they're sitting on there for a few days, probably not a big deal. But if they're sitting on there for a while, maybe not now while it's 26% humidity in my basement, but definitely in the summertime. So, and if you look to switch and upgrade to, the P2S or, any of the H series printers, you can also use the AMS 2 Pro with those as well. So it's a couple things to consider on that. But it does make that printer a bit more expensive. If you jump from just the Lite to the Pro AMS.
Yep. Some of us just have to stick with what we got, though. I'll just have to stick with my A1 for right now. Unless something else pops loose. Part of my problem is it works. I do want to get me an enclosed machine that's a little faster, because that's the only thing is sometimes I will have a little bit of issue with my machine when it's like really cool or really hot, because, the temperature varies a little bit more. But typically, if I just keep dry filament, I'm good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jack saying wishes he could print and dry at the same time, and Ryan is saying that he would go with it because of the compatibility with other printers, which is true. But if you're like me, you'll never upgrade from the A1. You'll just be like, it works. Because like I've been printing today. Like I got stuff on the printer right now. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it's done by now. But I've been printing parts today. I had to print out 2 Bigfoots. I actually got 2 of them printed today. So I did a pretty good job of going in and cleaning it off and restarting my printer. Matter of fact, there it is. Just finished up a little while ago.
Cool.
So, yeah. Get that one packaged. I got to go by the post office tomorrow and drop those. Got stove covers, cutting boards to deliver. I got a sign I got to deliver. I got to go get some lumber for these other projects that I get started on because I only got a week to get them done for the one fundraiser. The other fundraiser's in February, so I got time on it. But I think I'm going to do the same job for all of them just to keep it simple. My wife says that because it's, what is it? Is it 250 years or 200 years? No, 2. Dang it. July 4th. What is it? The
250th.
Yeah. She said I should do like some 250th, like something themed flags or something. Maybe like do a recess in there and do a laser engraving or something. I don't know. We're still working that part out. Right now, I just got to make the flags because I hate painting and staining, but we'll see. I may do a couple of crocodiles, so I ain't got, or alligators, so I ain't got to do that because I can just stain them one color. That may be where I go with that.
Well, I get to jump back to work tomorrow morning, get caught up on that, and then I have to hop back up on the road and go up to the Twin Cities Wednesday through Friday. So a couple more nights in a hotel room for me for work-related meeting that I got to be up and on site for. So.
Yeah, well, now you keep acting like I ain't got to go to work. I do got to go to work. It's just just going to be out here. So there's that little bit of resentment. So my wife said when I got back, she's like, you don't know, I'm actually glad to have you back because I've been missing my Mr. Mom. Like picking the kids up, dropping the kids off, picking up the groceries, doing dishes, doing laundry. She's like, I've been missing it. I was like, well, finally, I found a way to get you to miss me.
There's one for you.
Billy, it's not really needed for the RA2. The problem with the RA3 is they made the RA3 taller, which is great because you can put bigger things in it. But the problem with it is that like it was too tall. Like you couldn't focus on a tumbler with it because you couldn't raise the machine up high enough to get it focused. So the Bigfoot was just kind of my way of 2 birds, 1 stone. It holds the RA3 still so it doesn't move, but it also gives you that extra like 1/2 inch of space so that you can focus on some of the 20-ounce tumblers or whatever that's in there. So it's kind of 2 birds, 1 stone type approach. Other than that, you can actually screw the thing to the bed of the F1 Ultra and the F1 Ultra UV. It works great. You just screw it straight onto the bed. No need for anything. But with the F1, it was just a little too big. Yeah, Aldrich, I thought about doing it in 3 passes too. But I don't know. We're going to see. Because I've thought about exactly that. But every time I try to depend on masking, it never fails. I either get bleed through or the masking comes loose in one part or gets ripped off in one part. And so a lot of times I just assume just clear coat it first and then apply, like the part that I don't want to color, and then apply the color to the parts that I do want to color. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Or I may just talk Brandy into doing the painting and staining. Never know. So what else? Nobody got no questions? Y'all done got quiet. There's an hour and 45 minutes, and y'all already quitting. Oh, I can talk about. Pretty sure I'm going to have me another robot lawnmower in the next 3 months. I ought to. If I don't, something's wrong. Because I talked to every robot lawnmower company at CES, I think.
Just about.
So we'll see. We'll see. David Gibson, do you have any plans for videos on the alien cell? Yes, absolutely. When I get caught up or when I got a job for it. I don't like just doing random stuff. And here lately, first of all, before CES, I was working on jobs, getting stuff out of the shop. I actually did do a job with it and videoed a lot of it. But yeah, I've got some other stuff coming up that I'm going to do with it. I just haven't got those out yet because I still have other stuff that I have to do. Like I said, I got to go do all this delivering all of these things that I have made here pretty soon. I've been doing a lot of bamboo cutting boards with it. So I guess I could do a video on bamboo, but I'm still playing with the settings, trying to see if I can get a little bit like darker burn, which is probably because I haven't set a Z offset on it yet, but it's doing a good job, but I think it can do better. JCL says, any tips for the 40 watt S1 settings for glass engraving? I tried 100% at 75 speed and broke the first glass. I do not doubt that a bit because 100% of 40 watts at 75 speed is way too slow, in my opinion, on glass. You're going to want to defocus regardless of what you do. 40 watt, I'd say if you got the right coating on there, I would think you'd be able to go well, what are you going to 75 minutes or 75 millimeters per second?
Well, the X tool does millimeters a second if he's using their software. Just looking at the stuff I ran the testing on. Now I was using a few different things like marking spray and tempera paint, and I was around 70% power and like 150 to 175 millimeters a second.
I'm wanting to say 150 would probably be where I would kind of set that as my midpoint for my speed and power test.
But I don't know that I have like a lines per centimeter, which they use. But I have a good video on it, engraving glass on the X Tool S1, and I use a 40 watt on there, and I kind of show you my tests that I did and the results I had. I also was defocusing it by about 3 millimeters. So you can either set that in the software just by, setting your Z -3, or when I touch it off from flat glass, I just put a thicker piece on top of it and have it probe 3 millimeters above that. And that'll help kind of defocus and bring that focal point out so it's not so harsh on the glass. You'll be less likely to fracture it and get more of a frosted look to it that way. So yeah, I would try higher speed, bring the power down back a little bit, and then just try defocusing a little bit. Otherwise, check out on my channel, Engraving Glass on the X Tool S1, and it'll show you everything I did and the results I was getting.
Carrie Melfi's asking, sorry, just got here. You probably already mentioned it. What was your favorite thing you saw at CES? Well, it depends on. I don't really know that I have a favorite.
Well, I know the thing you smiled and giggled the most about.
The paint shaker. We found they had a robot to shake your spray paint for you.
That's what it was for.
That's what it looked like it was doing. But yeah, it was pretty hilarious to walk by and see it because it was like this. It was kind of like this Dang it. What's the material? Not latex.
Silicone.
Silicone. It was like a silicone thing, like a sleeve that you put your paint can in. Yeah, it was funny. But
realistically, I mean, it's hard to say the favorite thing because there were things around like
I really was
workshop
digging
and
those
whatnot.
RVs.
There were some. I mean, when we went into the vehicle area, there were some pretty cool things. I mean, there was like an electric drone Bobcat, and then there was an electric Bobcat. So those things were kind of cool. There was like some of these hover jet bike things that they either had like the big prop or this one that looked like it had about
It had like
160
or 50 of them.
ducted fan things on it. There was the robot stuff was pretty cool. They had a robot that was playing ping pong, and he was actually, now the guy was being pretty nice to the robot and putting it about the center of the table each time. But yeah, there was a lot of cool kind of robotic type stuff. And so I did take a picture. I think you had kind of scuttled off, but there was a really fancy minivan there. There was another one that was like a commuter minivan.
I didn't get a picture of it. I didn't get a picture of it though.
There were two. I didn't get a picture of the other one, but the other one was like a commuter, like it wasn't the Waymo one, but another one. And like everybody had their little like business class pod that you sat in. There were like 4 people in there. And so like you had your little working area while I don't know. I mean, we talked about that there. I mean, for science, it would be interesting to take a ride in one of those, but I would be sitting there the whole time going, we're going to crash into something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all the vehicle stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that I liked. Like I would have to say my favorite out of each category because there were so many things. They had boats, guys, like big boats were there, and I don't know if they were electric or just AI controlled, like flight systems. I don't know, but they had some nice looking boats. They had a fire truck that was massive. It looked like something off of like Judge Dredd or something. It was huge. I did get to talk with FLIR, got to see some of their cool stuff. The drone companies, that was cool. All the lasers, 3D scanners were cool. I mean, I'm a kid in a candy store with that kind of stuff. So I don't know that I could put my finger on anything that was my favorite per se.
Well, we did talk to Form Labs and saw their kind of cool. Now it's beyond hobbyist, but it was about a 5 for the full setup.
Prosumer, probably.
Yeah, they had their resin printer, and they were showing off their different resins, everything from like HDPE to on up to like carbon infused, whatever. And it was about $3,500 for the base unit, and then if you wanted the cleaning unit and then the curing unit, it ended up being around another $2,000. I think it was around $5,500. So not like it wasn't tens of thousands of dollars, but it's a lot more than what most of us are paying for 3D printing. But the cool resins that they're coming out with and the low VOCs on them are very, very attractive to people that are getting into needing to use some really unique materials. I mean, they like they said, they really work with a lot of engineers more than hobbyists and small business. So
yeah. Jerry O'Grady, I tried to get Steve to let me have one of his business cards to drop in their little fishbowl, and he wouldn't let me have one. So unfortunately, he's just gonna have to like do without it, I guess. So yeah. Lori
CNET did cover it. So
CNET did. Lori, it probably what you're imagining is probably accurate, but we try to stay, try not to get too far off in the weeds on stuff like that. But it was, let's just say it was surprising to see such a thing at CES because I had never saw it. But it was funny because at first I didn't know what it was. And so I walk up to the table thinking, what is this? And then it hits me what it is. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, at this point, the salespeople are like, hey, can I show you my product? And I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm going to walk right over.
That is not what you said. You engaged, man.
Oh, because I was like, it can't be what I think it is. And then when I got closer, I was like, it's exactly what I thought it was from over there. So yeah, it was wild. Some of the stuff was a little extreme at the event. So
there was the cool little Jackery robot that they call it their Mars rover. Was it the Mars?
Oh, the one with the solar panels?
So yeah, it drives around, it finds a good sunny spot, it angles up, and then it brings out in 2 different arrays a bunch of solar panels to charge itself up and kind of keep itself aligned with the sun. So it's kind of a cool thing. Of course, the one time it was making a turn and it looked like one wheel was trying to fight all the 4 others. So
yeah, it was grabbing. It had a little too much traction on that slick floor that like is like tennis shoes squeak, 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 squeak as it tried to turn.
Oh, and you slept on the job.
Yeah, I did do that in that one event. It was some kind of sleep enhancing sonar powered headset thing that like literally put like little dolphin clicks in your head, and somehow or another it caused you to get sleepy, and it kind of worked. It was hard for me to go sleep in a room full of people staring at me, but it kind of worked. So, Steve, you got somebody sneaking up behind you over there, bro. So, but yeah, there was lots of stuff up there. They had the one little patrolman robot that had thermal, and it was like R2D2 for police service. That was pretty cool because you had like, to where it could patrol an area or whatever. But the robot lawnmowers were probably one of the most popular items that companies had brought to the event. I will say that. I saw where somebody had asked about one of the robots. Where did we go? Oh, there it is. So John Reynolds has said, it's been a while since I was able to sign on. Heard your comment about robot mowers. Do you have a Yarbo, or what is the latest and greatest that you want to go with for a few acres with some heels? I've got one that I bought. It's the Ecovax Goat 3000. It works pretty well, but like just today I had to use it to knock down some little spots of grass and some weeds and stuff in the yard, and it got stuck. So I'm looking at an option to have a little more all-wheel drive capability. And I was checking my emails earlier to see if I heard back from them, but it's kind of looking like I may have a Motion. Was it Luba 3 all-wheel drive? I may have one of those coming. And then there were several companies at the event that had similar machines. Limo was there, Yarbo was there. I didn't get in to talk to Yarbo. They had a crowd. It was kind of hectic. I've talked to Yarbo before, so it's kind of kept walking on theirs. But there's several of these companies like Air Seekers, Dreamy, lots of different ones that were interested in me trying out their machines. But I've got to get with them to figure out what we're going to do. So they should be responding hopefully to my emails this week, because I just sent a bunch of emails out this morning to all of them. So we'll see. Yeah, Tim Arthur, I like the Goat too. It does a good job. There's a couple of places on my property where it gets a little steep for it, but if the ground's reasonably flat to, slightly downgraded, it doesn't have a problem. But I've got some hills. It's real gravelly, and especially like today, with all the rain we had the past few days, there were some ripples that got washed in my yard and stuff, and so it gets stuck every now and then. But it does a good job. The Goat definitely is worth having if you have a small to medium sized yard and relatively flat. It works really good for what I use it for. Mark, I don't know about the prices getting better. There's some technologies that I don't know that they're going to get cheaper, because as they get cheaper, they add more features, which makes them get more expensive. So it kind of stays, it kind of hovers. So, but we'll see. If I can get my hands on one that does as good a job and is cheaper, I'll definitely let you guys know. I plan on doing more with those over on the other channel. the Clayleys, by the way, if you haven't checked it out, that's where I do all my around the house stuff. I'll probably touch on it over here just to let you guys know about it. And some of the stuff is, kind of relatable because it's still robots. They're still using lasers to guide themselves and stuff like that. But I don't want to overdo it on the shop channel. That's why I created the other channel altogether. So, and it looks like, according to my email, because I was checking my email to see if I got anything back, and it looks like I will be doing a review on a SainSmart 4030S Pro Ver XLS here pretty soon. Also, so just got an email back from SainSmart.
Harold's asking, I've only used X-Tool lasers, wanting to get a larger laser, maybe trying a different brand, just nervous about learning Lightburn or something similar. Is it much harder to use? I mean, I think it depends on who you talk to and your tolerance for things being the same but different. There's a lot of good information out there about Lightburn, from my videos, David videos. There's other creators out there that have made really good content. Hobo with Wood, Louisiana Hobby Guy, they all have done really good tutorials around certain topics with Lightburn. So I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with just the interface of Lightburn. Throws a lot of menus and buttons and tools at you. But a lot of the basics are kind of there. The shape drawing, the layer stuff is a little bit different, but the kind of the idea is fairly the same. So you got 30 days to try it out. You could, depending on what X-Tool laser you currently have, you could even test it with that one. So don't be afraid to try it at least. See and come back here with questions or hit up our videos and such. We try to help make that transition a little bit easier. But also a lot of lasers, depending which one you get, some of these smarter lasers with newer features they're using their own software. So there's like Atom Stack Studio. They use Laser Pecker has their new LX2, which they have their kind of studio software as well. So
most of the newer ones have their version that you can use. It may be simple to use, but it's also a lot of times it's not going to have some of the tools. But yeah, I think Acemer's got one now. Monport, Atom Stack, I think all of them just about it now have a version of their own software.
Yep. So
Tim says he don't like when his mower gets too close to the yard. People stop and watch. But yeah, we've had some reports of that too. I've had people send me a text message and be like, "What is this in your front yard?" And it'll be my little lawnmower. Which mine, the one I've got now, I've got it maxed out, and so I can only do so much because my yard, I got more grass than it has capacity. So that's one reason why I want to get another one, is so I can kind of split my yard into quadrants, and I'll let the goat keep the areas that it does really well on, and then the areas that it doesn't do real well, if I can get an all-terrain, like a all-wheel drive version, I'll let it do those. And then that way, instead of taking like 4 days to cut my whole yard, I can do it in 2 or maybe even less than that. So Ryan, typically Biscuit doesn't leave them, but there are some out there from Rogue occasionally. And I mean, it's a lawnmower, so it is what it is. It will go around some things, but I'm sure it backs over enough of them. But it's a lawnmower. It doesn't come in the house. It stays outside. Tim says, watch for Prime Day. I saved about $1,000 on the Ecovacs Goat 3000, paid $2,000 for it. It still goes for about $3,000 last time I checked. Yeah, I got mine and I ordered it, and it wasn't but like a week or two. They dropped the price by like $900. and it really hurt my feelings. But then it went right back up. So I was like, well, okay. CIS guy 69 is asking, will all X2 lasers run with Lightburn? The newer ones do not. A lot of your, like, within the last, 6 months, 7, since the S1, I think. Everything since the S1 doesn't.
The S1 will work. The original F1 Ultra you can get to work, but you lose some of the features. But yeah, like the F2, I don't know that the F2 does, but the F2 Ultra, the P3, those do not. So anything that requires Xtool Studio is allegedly not Lightburn compatible.
Yeah. So if you're banking on Lightburn compatibility, Xtool is probably not the way to go. But I will say this: Xtool software has came a long way since the early days. There's only a couple of things that I can think of that it can't do that Lightburn does. And we actually talked to Stein about it at the Xtool booth, and he seemed like he was actually entertaining the idea of going back and letting them know about the features. One of them being the variable text feature that they don't currently have that would be very handy if they did add it to Lightburn. And he did say that he would look into that. So.
All right.
Well, that's 2 hours and 6 minutes. I think we about ran over. So, but it was a catch up from the short one we did last week. So,
yep.
And I have drank all my water. I gotta get some more water in my refrigerator out here. I got 2 cups out here, and both of them's empty. But yeah, so what you got coming up next few days? Anything? You got some videos go out. Hopefully some CES content.
Yeah, I'm hoping to this week get out most of my CES stuff. So I hope to I'll have a video on the Xtool stuff with a heavy focus on the UV printer. I hope to cover the aliens or the cell laser. I've got a fair amount of Creality content as well that I'm hoping to put together, and then hopefully, like you said, kind of just an overview, like the whole CS experience as best I can, just to kind of break it up a little bit, but cover all the things we saw. But outside of that, I've got some projects I'm working with on the P3. I also I'm going to be finishing up that Flash Forge 3D printer video. Yeah. So, and we'll see. I try to pick things out. Like I'll go back and look at some of the comments and questions I've gotten on videos, kind of like I did with the Elmtech Polar Light. I did kind of a follow-up video on that just prior to CES saying, hey, here's some of the questions I got, and try to cover some of those. So, continue to hit me up with some of those as well. But yeah, right now I got to get kind of back into the work mode. I've got a work trip coming up, and, before you know it, it's going to be end of January and such. But on a side note, YouTube did remind me that my channel is 18 years old.
Mercy.
I forget its exact birth date, but I think it rolled over while we were at CES, and I got that little tick. So
well, mine's
I've been using YouTube a lot. My YouTube account is now an adult.
Yeah, mine's not been around that long. It was when I got my first Android phone, I guess, when I created my Google account, which was like in 2012 or something like that. But it wasn't used for this. It was just used for viewing mostly back then. There was a few little videos that I uploaded, mostly just for video sharing. So, but congratulations, your channel is now eligible for the draft.
Now, it says, I think that must be when I posted my first video, because I remember it was like a wintertime model airplane video, but it says I joined November 15th, 2006. So technically my YouTube account is almost 20. But yeah,
Mm.
it's kind of funny the little things it adds, little milestones and whatnot. But
Yeah.
and we won't talk so much about the birthday I have at the end of the month either. So
Oh yeah, you're getting old, are you?
well, not as old as some.
Yeah, well, it has its advantages and disadvantages. I will say that. But I'm not old enough to get any of the really good benefits yet. but but it does have its advantages.
It's not my fault you were avoiding the AARP booth like the plague.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Steve's like, oh, there's your people. There's your people. I can't help it.
Retired guy.
This is hey, this is my Mr. I seen somebody said this in orange. This is my Dickies, my Mr. Rogers outfit here. I wear this little zip up hoodie like a lot. I need to find an orange one like this though, because I like these things. So I need to go on and order me some.
The hoodie that I want to find is the one that James Dean, he those only CNC ones.
Oh, those were comfortable. I don't know where you got
that fits me so well. And I looked up the brand. They only sell it. They're a UK company. And so you can't really get them in the US unless you're like a major distributor kind of
you got to
thing.
order like a container of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, I'm tempted to like hit them up and say, what would it cost me to have you like buy a few of those and just ship them over?
Yeah. Yeah. Kerry, he makes fun of me because I have passed the 50 mark and he is not. So he gives me a hard time by that from time to time.
You're literally retired.
I give him a hard time about being short. Yeah, but I'm only 50. So technically, I mean, I can't help it. The state had like 25-year retirement. Not my fault. Not my fault. I'm very thankful for it though. It's been awesome. But technically, I would like to remind you too, as I get reminded a lot, I'm not retired. I just quit my day job and now I have other responsibilities that I had to take care of.
Also, you can join AARP once you turn 18. So
18? Is that the age of entry? Wow. Well, I guess they had to keep from like some age discrimination lawsuits or something. Probably.
But all the special benefits open up once you're age 50. So.
Oh. Yeah. Hey, I don't mind. There's nothing wrong with being older. Just means you're wiser. Like, see look at all this wisdom up here. Look at all that wisdom.
What was it that your daughter was saying that
I don't know which one, because she was on it this past week.
Well, I was enjoying some of that.
Yeah, she was on it, boy. Woo! Mercy. Ain't no telling.
All right. Well,
fun times, guys. We enjoyed it, and I got a few more videos. I'm going to break my CES experience into. I'm probably going to do Creality next. Just kind of a highlight of what Creality had, and like I said, good. Hats off to Yuri. He was a good host at the Creality booth for us. And what was the other guy's name?
Ryan.
Yeah, and Ryan as well. They were great. I think Joy was the lady that was kind of over the 3D printing area. She was nice too, but she was kind of busy doing other stuff. So we dealt with Yuri and Ryan more. But yeah, it was a good experience. Hopefully lots of good stuff coming out of it. I'm also going to do some videos on the other channel as far as all the different stuff I saw over there. I'm hoping that Steve gets the e-scooter that we looked at, because I'm really looking forward to videos of Steve riding his e-scooter to work with snow chains on it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening in winter.
Oh, Yuri's still in here with us. Appreciate you, guy. And yeah, so next week, same place, same time, guys. We'll be around. Hopefully we'll get caught up and won't be quite as tired, because I'm still a little bit tired, even though I'm running on adrenaline. It'll take me probably 2 days to get back in the swing of things.
Hey, I still haven't had coffee since like Saturday before we left.
I drank a Monster this morning.
Well, you were drinking Monsters while you're out there.
I have one.
Well, okay. There's
on the way home. I got it. I got it at the airport and paid way too much for it on the way home. That was it. So I was caffeine free most of the week. I was trying to keep the inflammation down in my foot. You know, I got this bad heel and everything. So, but anyway, thanks for dropping by, and we'll have more to come. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next week.
Good night.